Greetings, rise and shine, brethren. Once again, I'm your host, a voice in the wilderness, here to bring you a message of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice to those who have ears to hear and eyes to see, who are of one mind, one heart, and one spirit. Today's video speaks of the collapse of a broken monetary system. Imagine a world of new beginnings, where a currency is a thing of the past, where people can no longer use a piece of paper to manipulate, control, enslave, and even kill here on the call of Noah. Now, without further ado, Dr. Hindu I.L. Henderson with his beloved host, Shelley Bowling.
Emily, you have people coming out and speaking that the U.S. is getting ready to go through a perfect financial storm, and it's going to be worse than 2008. You also have others saying that the U.S. dollar is hanging by a thread. Let me tell you, you have no financial system. Your dollar is worth, I wouldn't even say it would be good toilet paper at this point. Of course, I know a lot of you think toilet paper is great because you've been hoarding toilet paper just in case you can't get your hands on it. But there's a reason all of these things are happening. Your system is broken. The sovereign civil people's rights is what has put that portion back together. Our beloved brother of the financial side has everything I know well in hand. It's clean. It's asset backed. And it is going to be used on behalf of the children of Yah for the benefit of all of those children. So the fact that the U.S. dollar is hanging by a thread, as Gertrude happened to say in this article, well, let's just say it's about time for the thread to break, because there's nothing that that system has to offer you. Everything's been put together by Father Yah, His Son, those working with Him, because it's all ready to go to establish the kingdom of Yah on this planet. And as evidence of an end for a new beginning, today, it was early today, just 1:12 a.m., in Perryville, Alaska, there was a 7.8 earthquake with possible tsunami predicted. 7.8. There's your end for a new beginning.
United States of America, the melanated people, my people, we understand and I understand, are humble people. And to be humble, sometimes it brings me to tears for them, knowing that they're also the ones that are easily hoodwinked, manipulated, and carried off into ignorance. That's why I find myself constantly appealing to them based upon things such as simple things like cryptocurrency. Knowing that now that the Americans, if we might deem them to be such, known as the Caucasoid race, of those that have found themselves to be in the political house of what is known as Democrats and Republican Party have found just this week past that a 15-year-old kid, Caucasian, has been more, if they would say, responsible for all of the cryptocurrency that has been purchased by all of the melanated people on the planet. And knowing that by what they now deem to be nothing more than a hoax, a trick, a plot. Yes, they would deem it to be nothing more than money laundering. And the majority of blacks have purchased it, melanated people. They classify it as being cryptocurrency, whereby once again they're going to be able to benefit off it. But my people are very gullible, as I've already said. No, I'm not making excuses for them. For the matter of fact, I am very, very, I would say, highly disappointed with them. For they're the same ones that went out and bought majority of the czar. They were the majority of the ones that bought the majority of dinar. Yes, they bought the majority of the ruby. They bought a majority of all of the currency that has been deemed nothing more than blood currency, blood money. And believe it or not, as I must be honest enough, as they should be, to even openly explain this to the people of the universe, and especially to the melanated people, that I can assure you that 65% of that in which was purchased by way of knowing that it was currency that was blood currency, blood money, was purchased by what is known as the religious institutions of the melanated black world. Stay with me. Yes. Your preachers, your apostles. Yes, your would-be so-called bishops. Yes. Those that you classify to be your spiritual leaders, your spiritual advisors. Yes. Your religious would-be organization. Leaders. They were the ones that went out and was able to convince the majority of the congregation to purchase none other than dinar, to purchase none other than cryptocurrency, knowing that it had no value, knowing that, as my colleague has already said, these are derivatives, things that can be created by those who want to create it out of thin air that they call dollars, by doing nothing more than trimming a tree and sending it through a press to turn it into paper, and then printing some dead face of some man on it and give it a value in which you alone would kill and even die for. It's called money. Oh, I heard you. Mr. Gates is rich. I don't think so. Mr. Gates knows that he's not rich. You think that Mr. Gates is rich. Mr. Gates is still trying to get his hands on every would-be dead president on the planet by way of some greenback dollar, so he can find himself, even pulling himself out of a hole of what he knows to be broke. Because the dollar is not worth anything, and he just wants to see if he can somehow get enough of it to put it back in circulation. Let me help him out, because I know he's listening to me. Not going to happen. You're not going to be able to re-jumpstart no economy. You have already been claiming now for at least 16 years that you have been in a recession. For one to be in a recession past 1 year is classified as depression, not a recession. United Nations, I bring you this, all of this, not to doom you, but to get you prepared to understand that right now, the world is under constant threat. This constant threat is not what is classified as some theory, but it is a constant threat of what is known as to be a conspiracy. The conspiracy is that of which has been put together by some unrighteous men. As a matter of fact, they still only blame 8 of them who met on some would-be small island, or some even would-be place they gathered that they call it Jekyll Island. Jekyll Island was nothing more than a place where the so-called elite would go to make up plans, or doing nothing more than drinking their brains out. They would be out getting drunk just so they would come up with a way to be able to destroy the many people and bring them to their knees, whereby they themselves would be able to benefit off the backs of them by way of something that they classified to be a new world order based upon new world currency. And these new world currencies right now does not still exist, and they never will exist. Because all the precious metals that are on the planet right now, to include that in which they have deemed to be gold, will be nothing more than a destruction for man who touches it, knowing that it is nothing more than a blood would be offering, or blood donorship based upon donations of the gold, in which does not belong to the donator. The donator is nothing more than a thief. And that thief has done nothing more than stole what he believed to be all the precious metals of the planet, and he's been able now to try to sell them back to the many people in reference to trying to build his would-be household up on what is known as the currencies of the universe. These currencies can be considered, United Nations, once again, as the dollar, whether it be the euro dollar or whether it be the United States dollar. It has been considered to be the most damaging would-be part of what is classified as a weaponry and which has been used against the people. And now many of the people are beginning to recognize that he or she does not even come to a point of being equal to having enough of it to be able to save themselves. And even now, all the way to the state of Washington, where they talked about a man by the name of Beltos, or he called himself Biot. They must realize that he himself will not be able to minister or even have an assessment of those who will check his would-be so-called bank account to have trillions of dollars. He will never be able to access or possess trillions of dollars because they don't exist. The dollar is dead. The dollar has always been dead. The dollar was never more than that in which had no intrinsic value based upon the fact that it was classified to be nothing more than derivatives, in which was made up by a custom group of men who always met, once I say again, in Jekyll Island. But they too realized that to have something classified as the dollar, you have to first have a note that would go along with it. The note would have to read IOU. And knowing that they would always be in debt to whomever they wrote the note to, this is why the dollar has found its way now to being at the bottom of the chain of anyone who desires to have anything that they were classified to be currency. And it's going to get worse, even though they're going to say that it is bouncing back. It's like saying that the beast whose head was once wounded to a point where it was a fatal wound, they will say that he is now been one who has been revived and he's on the way back up again. But this will not be so. But just as that beast found himself being chained and locked and thrown back into hell, so shall that system also find itself locked in hell with that beast. The United Nations, we're going forward now, knowing that the battle does not belong to the people, but it truly belongs to Yahweh, God of the universe, and he has already spoken. And by way now of the voice in which they hear, that yes, they would want to silence this voice. But to silence this voice will not silence the situation. Neither will it silence what will be classified as the results, the end of the situation. because it is inevitable. It has already been written. It's in all of the Holy Scriptures. All of the men of the universe now is aware of it. And even those that claim to be atheists, they already know that it has been written that there will be a great battle that will end all wars of the world. They do believe and understand that the world will end, but there shall be a new world and a new beginning. They all understand that, and they all believe that because it's true. So now, for any group of people to still claim to be unaware of what's going on, I would say to them, you're going to die surely and doomed, and that doom will be classified as ignorance. Because you just refuse to want to understand that if you don't change, you're going to die. If you don't change and get on the righteous side of the world, you will die on the unrighteous side, never to exist again. No one is trying to scare you to do anything. You already have enough fear. You fear HIV, yes. You fear the coronaviruses, all of them. You fear just even having to get up in the rise and shine day, where your body don't seem to be operating like it did the day before. You fear all of that. You fear death. You even fear sickness. And thereby, you're already in fear, so no one has to scare you to do anything. You're already scared. You're scared yourself even to take the next or your second breath. You're in fear already. No matter how large or how small you may be, no matter how great you may be, you fear these things. And you can tell all your friends, and you can put on a persona as if though it doesn't bother you, or that you're going to be okay because you have enough money to survive this would-be outcome of what you deem to be a crisis. Let me help you out. You're not going to make it. Know all of the rich man right now. Be told. Tell them what you really know about the world right now. Tell them that you're nothing more than one who has been classified to be the richest man in the world because you're fake. All fakes are going to come to a point where even the President of the United States of America has already mentioned to them they will come to a close. They will be sought out, and they will be proven to be nothing more than fakes. Yes, and just as they're trying to prove that he's not a billionaire, just because now they're trying to prove that he doesn't have millions. He himself is not worried about that because he knows that no man and no system that's classified as the U.S. of A system or the United States system or some American system, they have nothing. All of them are broke. And that's why they find themselves using the most precious would-be so-called commodity on the planet. Man. They're using human bodies to be able to put themselves in a position where they can feel powerful, that they can feel rich, that they can feel prestigious, that they can be exalted. They're using the most precious would-be power of all, and that is of mankind, that is of humankind, and thereby them violating humanity, by them violating mankind. They have been able to exalt themselves, running tests on men, placing them in laboratories, giving them these things in which they deem to be nothing more than vaccines, when really what they're administering is nothing more than the germ itself. But many men have been able to overcome all the germs that they've been able to administer to them. They're still wondering how. I can assure them that that man in whom overcame it was because he was a righteous man, and he was in Allah, and thereby nothing you can do, nothing that you have brought to the world will be able to destroy the righteous man. I said again, blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, neither does he sit in the seat of the scornful. Yes, I know for a fact that in his day and in his night, he often meditates in the law. And that law is the law of Allah, God of the universe. These are the only reasons and the only way that man can survive. He must be truly in Yah Allah, and Yah Allah must be truly in him, or he will be doomed. Asleep at the wheel. Remember, I told you I came to awaken a world in which I do believe that all individuals have been sleeping in a dying world. Yes, and even though one known as Dr. King once upon a time mentioned this to the whole universe, where he believed that the people were dying in a would-be world that was sleeping. But now the world must wake up. It's being awakened by one in whom they have deemed once again to be nothing more than a nobody trying to tell everybody about somebody who can save anybody. He has been talking to them now for the last would-be 20 years. 0220, giving them what is known as the coveted time to be a promise, in which he has told them that now you must awaken to a world whereby, yes, globalism has to be destroyed, because it's nothing more than corporatism, and corporatism is nothing more than one who's trying to benefit off from some so-called would-be currency that has no value unless you say it has a value out your mouth. One has been running around now for the past would-be 55 years with nothing more than some agreement whereby they said was a nation of United Nations, where they were going to use a dollar bill as they would be building force for the universe. But this dollar bill has been found since now 20 years ago that it has no value. It has been placed on a stage of nothing more than derivatives, where they were told that the only value it had to come by way of something that was classified as a note. And that note still reads today. If you have read the note, that note still says that I owe you. But it seems that the ignorance of the people, they haven't recognized that the note did have a statement on it, and it was just not a blank piece of paper where you could go around and put a number on it and classify it to be the value of the number in which you placed on it in some so-called would-be dollar-back bill. The note says, again, I owe you. And now, as the Congress still raises the debt ceiling, while now nothing more than racism will raise out of control, where nothing more will rise out of it but ashes up on a would-be long night of fires. It's talking about only for a short moment of the number system based upon what has been done. Yes. No. You need to realize that yes, the monetary system has long been dead. The dollar has long been dead. They have only been pretending that it's been alive. And those of you now that are receiving it, you're receiving dead money. So I say use it. It's worth it to use it. Hurry up and get rid of it. Put it on something that you really, really want. Thereby, they won't be able to take it back from you, because you're not going to give up something that you really want. No. And you need to realize that, no, they're not going to be coming to you to ask you to pay it back. You know why? Because it don't truly exist. They already know that. So they're not going to be asking you to pay back something that don't really exist. And if they do start talking about pay it back, smile at them. Tell them it's in the mail. Tell them to wait. Don't call you, you'll call them. No, I'm not telling you to take it and steal it from them. You're not stealing, you're not taking it. It was stolen from you. They're giving it back right now by the best way they can without telling you that it was yours to begin with. That's what they're doing. They're putting your name on it now so they can say this was yours. Stay with me. I'm telling you the truth. You can deny it if you want to. That's on your part. And all of you who believe that what they're doing is accidental, you can send it back to them. It'd be okay. Send it back. Put your name on it. Tell them no thanks, but no thanks. And send it back. I say again, use it. Because you're not going to have to worry about it. Because it's not going to be coming back in the form of anything that's going to be tangible. Right now, the U.S. of A is in a position and in conditions where it is slowly deteriorating. falling apart. Whether they find a cure tomorrow and everybody thinks that because they're going to be cured, they will now be able to finally seek jobs and seek homes and seek a place to live and seek new equipment and all the other things that you're going to be believing that you're going to be able to do, because finally you're going to say that they finally have put you in a position where they are now going to consider you. I'm here to tell you that's not what's happening. Right now, they have no other choice to do what they're doing, because the U.S. of A is slowly deteriorating. It is about to be annihilated. It's about to become obsolete. No one's going to need it. It's about to become extinct, because everyone will forget that it ever existed. That's what's happening to it right now. United Nations, I know that they're listening to me very closely in what will be the World Economic Forum. I know that Davos now is getting a true ear, I would say an earshot of what exactly is going on and why things are like they are right now. And that's always to their monetary system. Yes, it will become digital. And all of those that will not be tied to the digital system of righteous will not be those that will benefit from it. For you will also find yourself being annihilated, eliminated from all the righteous things of life, because you will have been found, investigated, and you will have already been judged to be none other than those that will be of the unrighteous world.